This segment is all about strategic preparation and timeline when it comes to selling your business in Canada.
Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this is a special series all about selling your business in Canada. Joining me on this segment is special guest expert, business broker Jim Nairn. Jim, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mark, thank you for having me.
Jim, tell us a little bit about the importance of strategic preparation and the timeline as it relates to selling a business in Canada.
Indeed. So, Mark, the timelines that we work with quite often in business owners to prepare your business properly, some businesses need to take anywhere from like 2 to 3 to 5 years before they get ready to sell the business to prepare the business properly. So the reasons for this can vary from trying to take extra assets out of the business. So sometimes business owners have various investments of either cash and or literal stock and other investment portfolios operating on the business's bank accounts. So if you don't want to sell those and they aren't going to need to be sold with the business, you need to be able to pull them out of the business in an appropriate time prior to closing so that it's going to minimize the tax consequences of taking that sort of thing out of the business. As well, you can have things like extra vehicles, extra equipment, or buildings. Sometimes business owners have their own houses or cottages or retreats, that kind of things on the company books that aren't going to be sold with the business, and they can have significant value. So again, in order to be able to save the best amount of taxes at the time of closing, you need to be able to take those off of the what we call the company's books, the balance sheets, prior to closing in a manner that's going to save you money on the taxes in the long run.
Jim, like, is that like the most frequently asked question then? Like, how long is it going to take, or is there a bigger question that people ask you in regards to, strategic planning or timeline?
So I think that's probably one of the bigger ones that sometimes we don't always get asked, but they're kind of wondering about it. And so quite often there is no exact timeline I can give people for how long it takes to sell the business. I've had two in about the 10 years that I've been doing this that have only taken 3 months from the time basically that we finished the preparation work and we got it on the market until closing. It was basically about 3 months. Other businesses, you're looking at 6, 12, 18 or more months just for all different kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's the negotiations go long, the due diligence takes a while, or again, sometimes things are happening in the business cycle that you just can't complete a transaction or a transition of ownership until certain things have been finished or taken care of in the operations of the business. So there's all different kinds of reasons that it can be delayed, but yeah, it's usually a huge question that business owners are wondering just how long it does take for the process to finish, if it ever does.
Let's unpack this a little bit. Can you give us an overview of what the strategic preparation looks like when a client comes to meet with you? Like, what is that plan, and what does that timeline look like?
So it can vary depending on each business and their goals, if you will. So sometimes a business owner has a particular goal that they're looking to achieve. They need to get, say, $5 million for the sale of their business because that's what they want or need to fund their next endeavor, whether it's a full-blown retirement or whether it's to go and buy another business that they prefer to be running in the meantime. If we understand that the value of the business they're in currently is, say, $2 million. So that would be a good gap. We're talking about a $3 million difference here in value. So we have to be able to figure out, okay, well, what's the steps we can do to grow the business to get it to get the value to be what it is they need it to be when it comes time that they're looking to sell, to move on. So sometimes the easiest way to do that is to actually buy another business, join it into the existing one, and then grow the operations that way. And you can be able to sometimes achieve, a tenfold increase on the synergies of the two operations, and then that's it. You're done after 2 to 3 years. You're ready to go. You've got the added value you've needed just by simply investing, a $500,000 or $1 million in another entity to complement your current operations. Sometimes it's not so simple. Sometimes there's a lot more work that needs to be done. Again, cleaning up the books, the assets. Other examples are getting proper policies and procedures in place for the staffing for a new owner, so that when they come in, they don't have to have any mystery of who's supposed to do what, when, or why. They can just simply at the turn of a page there have access to the understanding of this is the way the business is run, and who's supposed to make sure it happens that way.
This sounds like there's a quite a substantial checklist that you guys go through. Is that right? And if it is a checklist, what are some of the big mistakes or things people miss on that checklist? Like what are the biggest things that you got to make sure people don't miss?
Yeah, Mark. So one of the biggest things is, just the inherent knowledge that either the business owner or some of the staff have on how the business operates. Not necessarily really related to the culture per se, but just sort of the day-to-day things that a business owner understands just intuitively on how to either deal with an equipment malfunction on a certain piece of machinery. Say this piece breaks down regularly, and all you have to do is just go and take a 5 minute change, as opposed to going to taking it to a garage and having it be an $10,000 repair, right? Things like that, or how to deal with a particular customer or supplier kind of thing. Whatever the nature of that knowledge is, that just isn't kind of usually written down in the manual somewhere, and people just intuitively know. Those are the kinds of things that, if that can actually be documented, then a new business owner has that ability to go and say, hey, instead of having to call you up all the time, the previous owner, to say, hey, you know what, this is going on, I just don't know what to do here. And then you're like, oh, that's simple, you just go and do this. Like, to help avoid those kinds of things, just be able to set them up for the success that would be best for them, is just getting that extra stuff written down. And it's just often little things like that people don't think about, that can make a big difference to a new business owner.
Jim, is there anything, regarding the strategic preparation or the timeline, managing the timeline for that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to get business owners to understand?
Yeah, so it can be, the timeline can be really protracted depending on the nature of the business. So sometimes it takes several months, depending again on the communication flow between the business owners and myself and the other professionals. It can take several months just to get the initial valuation and the marketing collaterals developed before you even see any marketing happen to the general public, if you will. So there's a lot of misconceptions that, oh, okay, you know what, it's almost similar to a house where you go, when you just go in, they take a couple pictures, they take some dimensions down, and then boom, off you go. It's a lot more of an involved process than that. And when you're going and you're dealing with the marketing and the vetting of the prospective buyers and the negotiation process, like that, each one of those stages can add anywhere from a couple weeks to several months of time on top of what you've already been working with to try to get your business ready to go to market. So it doesn't take long for 6 months to a year to go by, and you're still looking for that good fit to come in and take over your business. And it can be draining sometimes on the business owners if they have the expectation that it's going to happen really quickly, right? Okay, we'll put the ad up next week, we'll have 5 qualified buyers, everybody just starting a bidding war ready to take on my business. Unfortunately, that's not usually the case. It may happen now and then, but it's not, the majority of times that is what I see. Quite often the process is a little more prolonged than that, and there's a lot involved to it that business owners just really don't understand. Again, the amount of work that it takes to get the business ready to go to market, let alone what it's required after it's on the market, and then the due diligence negotiations and the closing procedures. There's just so much more to it. And that's why, again, seeking the help of a qualified professional that has that experience can save you that time, money, and grief of a business owner from trying to do it themselves. And then their focus is lost on the business. It starts sliding and the value starts decreasing subsequently. But meanwhile, if they are able to engage an outside person to help them, then it just helps to maximize their time and let them go on continue on operating the business, and then it just makes the process that much easier.
Jim, this has been terrific. I appreciate you sharing with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate that. And I hope you and everyone have an amazing rest of the day. So if you enjoyed this video and want more real-world information about buying, selling, and or valuing a business, feel free to connect with me directly on LinkedIn or through my website at trilliumbusinessbrokerage.com. Either way, I'd love to connect and keep the conversation going.